In this episode, we enjoy our favorite day of riding of the trip so far, get up close with the shark, and are in for a surprise at a biker rally. My wife and I are on a motorcycle trip through Mexico, Central, and South America exploring cultures and food. So bring an appetite for adventure because we're hungry riders. So we headed south out of Oaxaca and we started going through mezcal country.
Yeah, and of course that means we had to try some. We tried a small bottle and then a larger bottle because we liked it so much.
We tried this in Oaxaca, not on the road while we're riding.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's very similar to tequila, except it's more smoky. It's got like a campfire taste to it, I thought.
And it has that taste because mezcal is roasted instead of steamed agave. And that's how they extract it. That's where that roasted campfire taste comes from.
And the other difference between mezcal and tequila is there is a worm in mezcal. We actually didn't even notice the worm when we bought it, when we bought the bottle, but then we were almost done drinking it and we noticed there was a worm when we bought it.
It's quite shocking when you're half drunk.
Yeah, we didn't eat it. And then moving on, as we were heading out of Oaxaca, we noticed it started getting really windy on our bikes. You know, our bikes are being tossed all over the place.
This big open plain in front of us that's miles and miles across.
Right.
The perfect place for a windmill farm.
And that's exactly what there was. We saw miles and miles and miles of windmills all over the place.
And apparently this is one of the largest wind farms in Latin America, and it even ranks on the world scale. And it apparently has the capacity to produce enough power for the entire country of Mexico at some point. They're still building it.
Right. And then from there, we finally were able to find a Libre road. We've talked about the quota roads, the toll roads in the past, but we finally were able to catch a Libre road, and thank goodness we did, because it was a little bit longer. It was 20 kilometers longer than the normal route, but it was so gorgeous. Through the mountains, up, finally we're out of the hot weather.
Yeah, the weather started getting really awesome, nice and cool. It's not humid anymore. Really high altitude changes, you know, just nice twisty turns, great quality road. And we got to drive through and see a little bit of the indigenous cultures of the area too, which you wouldn't probably see on the quota roads. You can see people dressed in their traditional
dress.
Yeah. Apparently the color purple was very popular up there, just like Serafina likes.
Yes. And so one of the things we wanted to try in San Cristobal was horseback riding. Now, I have ridden horses before, but it was like a decade ago, so it took a little getting used to for me.
It's very different muscles than riding a motorcycle.
It is.
So. I used to have a horse, but that was probably the last time I rode one.
But that was, what, 15 years ago? Something like that. But yeah, so the horseback ride, it was a long road, the normal street road with cars, which is kind of disappointing. But then we did take a shortcut through the mountains and jungle.
And it didn't always used to be a road, it's just kind of developed at this point. And it used to be ride to some remote village with an indigenous culture, and they still kind of have that there, it's just kind of grown. It's a giant market now.
Yeah, it's just like in any other town now.
Yeah, and they had a church that we could have paid $5 to get into.
We decided not to pay for that.
We've seen a lot of churches in Mexico so far, and big cathedrals that, you know, very impressive.
So we decided our $5 would be better spent on a shoe shine. We had worn our motorcycle boots because we thought they'd be good riding boots for the horses, but they were filthy because we've gone through mud puddles and dirt and rain and all that kind of stuff.
And we hadn't cleaned them at all on the whole trip so far.
Right, so we thought that would be a good opportunity, so we had them shined up.
$5 well spent.
It was, even though they got dirty shortly after that. After our horseback ride, we were trying to find the local food. And
we asked a lot of different people, and San Cristobal is awesome as far as food, international food.
International food, it's a very touristy town. But that we wanted local food.
There was no indigenous food that we could find, but we did find an indigenous drink.
Okay, this is the posh. This is the traditional drink of the communities.
In Chiapas here? Or?
Yes, in Chiapas, only in Chiapas. For them, it's a sacred drink. They use in all the festivities, in all the ceremonies, in all the rituals. For them it's like to clean your soul. This drink we make with corn. The base is the corn. The corn for all the Mexican is...
That's the staple food for this entire region. Yeah.
Yes, and we have different flavors. We have a peach, we have berry, we have a membrillo. It's a very Mexican fruit.
Can I try the membrillo?
Membrillo, okay. Very Mexican.
Alright.
So it's very good.
And these are a lot lower alcohol content too?
Yes,
than the pure one?
This is 36 and this is 18. Okay. So it's the half of the...
yeah, it's sweet, it's a lot smoother. can't taste, I guess, the alcohol as much, but you can still, you know, tell it's there. So thank you so much, Julio, for showing us around your excellent business, and it's an amazing drink, and I hope to be able to taste it again someday.
Okay, perfect. I will be waiting for you and for other people. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
So one of the other things that San Cristobal is known for are their amber mines that are located nearby.
And they've been mined by the Mayans for thousands of years, and they're still going, and we thought we'd take a look. Ever since I saw Jurassic Park when I was really little, I really wanted an insect inside the amber. It's like a 40 million year old insect. How awesome is that? So let's see if we can find one.
So in the end we decided not to get any amber because, well, we did some laundry while we were in San Cristobal and we forgot that we left some cash in our pockets.
And we never saw that cash again. So
that was the cash that we would have spent on amber, so much for that.
Oh well. And we ended up having to stay in San Cristobal an extra few days because Mother Nature had some plans for us. So we're hanging out here in San Cristobal still for a couple extra days because we are dodging a hurricane. Apparently Hurricane Ernesto is going by the north of us, and that's right where we were planning on riding through, so we'll just hang out here for a couple extra days, catch up on some video editing and work. So we left San Cristobal and headed north. Again, it was those really nice kind of mountain roads, and which we were enjoying. And again, we're passing through these local communities, and I'd heard about this before where they feel like you're basically passing through their territory, and
so we owe them something.
Yeah, so you owe them some sort of tax. So the thing to do apparently is to string up a rope.
Just have two people
in the middle of the road. Yeah.
Two people on each side of the road, each holding a rope with a flag in the middle, so you see it.
And
then they lower it physically with their hands up and down based on whether or not they feel like letting you by or not.
But apparently we looked like they could just let us by because they didn't even ask us for money, and we just drove right through. And there was a number of these all along the road.
Yeah, we did see some other people getting stopped, but they didn't care about us, I guess. So we were heading out to Palenque, one of the more famous mine ruins out there. And we wanted to stay in a hotel really close to Palenque.
It was like a kilometer away.
It was right outside the gate. It was literally right on the gate. And we were even able to park right in front of our cabana.
Very convenient.
It was. And so the next morning we headed out to see the ruins.
So we're here in Palenque, which is an ancient Mayan city, and has amazing things like murals that were brightly painted on the walls at one point, running water to the city. And a lot of people think that these are steps of the pyramid, but they're actually not steps, they're seats, because the people here were very short. But it's just the right size as a step for me. We really enjoyed that because you could walk on the pyramids, you could walk through and see a lot of the rooms.
We hired a guide to show us around, and so he told us, you know, this is a bedroom, this is their bed, this is the sacrificial altar with the blood channel on it.
And we thought we'd go see another one. So we went to Chichen Itza also, which is more on the Yucatan Peninsula on our way to Cancun.
Yeah.
And so we stopped by there and we saw that one also.
It was very similar to Palenque, except for one key difference: you can't actually walk on the pyramids, which is kind of a bummer.
You can't even get close to them.
They're all roped off.
Unless you're working on it.
Right, which they were.
So yeah, it was still interesting. It was one of the really famous ones, but we definitely enjoyed Palenque more, I would say, between the two.
You can get more hands-on.
And as we're riding there, we're basically riding through the Yucatan Peninsula. The roads are super high quality.
We found a Libre road again.
Yeah,
it's fun.
You can go nice and fast. They're very straight.
Through the jungle though, it's thick jungle on both sides.
Very thick jungle. And as we were getting close to Cancun, we went the wrong way on a quota road where we were going to basically be stuck on it for another 100 kilometers or so.
Yeah, might even have to pay for it. So we took a little shortcut through the jungle. We saw a little footpath. They're like, oh, we can fit there. We got KLRs.
Yeah, good thing we have like somewhat off-road bikes.
Yeah.
So that totally worked.
That worked, and then we finally made it into Cancun. And it turns out a friend of mine who I went to film school with, named Franco, actually lives in Cancun. So he invited us to stay. Thanks to him for letting us stay there and with his family.
And they also invited us through a family connection to the Coco Bongo, which is actually in Playa del Carmen.
Right.
And
it was quite an experience.
Yeah.
They said, oh, we're just going to go out to a nightclub. You want to go to a nightclub? And we thought, okay, sure.
Had no idea what to expect.
That was not a nightclub. That was a show, dance, all you can drink. some crazy performances for anything from Elvis to Spider-Man, Tron Legacy, Madonna, Gautier.
Yeah, they had every very popular piece of music for the past like 30 or 40 years.
Yeah,
basically.
and they had some elaborate dance setup for every single one of them with music videos playing in between.
And it was good timing for you because you were able to get a whole 3 hours of sleep before your scuba class begins the next morning.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to scuba class that next morning. And again, like we said, it was all you can drink, but I restrained myself. I just had one beer, that was it. Yeah, I only got 3-4 hours of sleep. I have somebody to blame for this. So in our very first episode, you might remember, we asked our friends for advice, and one of the pieces of advice that we got was from Paul.
Always go to whatever party's happening, no matter how tired you are or how upset you are, just keep going.
So we did. So we went out and had fun to the party, no matter how tired we were, and then I had
How tired you're gonna be.
So then I went to scuba class. It was fine though. No problems.
You passed. That's all that's
I
important.
did. I passed, and yes, scuba diving.
Yeah. So
that was fun.
You did all the boring part online basically before we got there.
They normally have a classroom session where you spend a full day inside the classroom learning all kinds of boring stuff. But I did that ahead of time, like in San Cristobal earlier. And so that was all taken care of. So when I went to the class in Cancun, all I had to do was the swimming pool drills, and then we went out and did the actual dives. And it's actually a lot easier than I expected. It looks very complicated. It's really not.
It's like flying underwater.
It is.
And so I joined you for like the dives the next day after you were basically trained. She's like the luckiest scuba diver ever because it's like your second dive in the whole world, and you get to see a shark. And some people might be shocked by that, like, oh my gosh, it's a shark.
Oh my god.
But it's fine. The sharks are actually a really cool thing to see.
It was a nurse shark, so it was very friendly. It actually ran away from us as our dive master went up and tried to grab its tail.
As the dive master pointed out, he went on like something like 2,000 dives before he saw his first shark, and San Phoenix gets to see one for the second time ever.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a very friendly shark.
And you're just exploring underwater, like picking stuff up, things you've never seen before that are living things. It's like going for a hike on another planet.
Yeah. And the other good thing about scuba diving is that, so we're in hot Mexico with mosquitoes and all that kind of stuff. Once you start scuba diving, you don't feel the heat, you don't feel your mosquito bites. It's quite refreshing. And so then we wanted to try some local food, local snacks, see what Franco suggested. And so we went down to the beach one evening and found a little snack.
Marquesitas?
Marquesitas.
Right. So I have a plain cheese one.
This is Nutella.
With cheese.
Good.
Yeah, it's really crispy, like flaky kind of dough. I thought it was going to be like, it smells like a pancake, but it doesn't taste like a pancake.
Well, it's more like a crepe if you baked it.
Or fried it more, like I had it crispy.
Well, it's not fried.
No, it's not fried, but it's like,
Yeah, crispy.
like it's got a shell to it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what it reminds me of? Is those little cookies that have chocolate in them and they're crispy like this? It's exactly like that. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but kind of. So Franco also invited us to a biker rally, which we hung around for the next couple days to be able to go to. And that was an interesting experience. We don't really go to those in the US normally.
Not really. There was quite a variety of bikes, from cruisers, sport bikes, vintage.
Yeah, Mexico isn't a Harley specific crowd at all. It's like you own a motorcycle,
You're in the club.
You can go to a biker rally
Yeah,
and hang out.
there's food, there's live music, some bands
There was
of
some
varying quality.
There was some competing shooting flames from your exhaust.
How loud can your pipes go?
And a couple other competitions, one of which we participated in.
Unknowingly.
Hungry riders from San Francisco, California, where are you? Get your ass up here on the stage, man! All right, and you're traveling with your wife? You're in your honeymoon. Estás en luna de miel. ¿Qué chingados hacen aquí? What the hell are you doing here? You should be back in the room, man. Huh? Congratulations. Thank you very much for celebrating your honeymoon with us. Damas y caballeros.
We won an award for traveling the furthest to get here. So it was time to leave Mexico, so we were headed south towards Belize. And we were actually really sad to see Mexico go. We really enjoyed our time there. We've spent almost 2 months.
Yep.
It was a good, really great experience. A lot of people were so worried, like, oh, you're traveling through Mexico. It's totally fine.
Not
Just
a problem.
just be smart about it. You know.
Don't travel at night. Don't be stupid. Any precautions that you take in any other big city, any other place in the world, do the same thing. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and we didn't have a single issue for anything the whole time.
We didn't get pulled over once. Nobody harassed us.
It was a good experience. So that's it for this episode. On our next episode, we meet some local bikers and ride a chicken boat to a Caribbean island.
That was quite an experience I won't forget. But until then, if you're enjoying our episodes, I hope you are, share our videos on Twitter, on Facebook,
On YouTube.
Spread the love. Send our links around. If you know some friends who might enjoy it.
We'd appreciate it. And of course, you can always follow our whole trip at hungryriders.com.
See you next time.
Now we're gonna step down. It's gonna be, well, it's not that dark.
It's dry.